Okay, good day class. For the next part of our video lecture is going to be all about nutrition and digestion. Previously, we already talked about the animal and plant processes with regards to reproduction. Now, for nutrition and digestion, basically let us first define what nutrition is. Nutrition basically is the process of acquiring nutrients in order for the body to continue grow and use that nutrients absorbed to metabolize it and be able to continue the basic life processes. Now, let's go first with plant nutrition. Basically, again, going back, nutrients. It is any substance required for the growth and maintenance of an organism. And basically, for plants, there are two types of organisms based on the mode of nutrition. You have autotrophs and heterotrophs. When you say autotrophs, from the word itself, automatic, meaning that these type of organisms obtain energy from sunlight and chemicals to produce their own food. Autotrophs. They have an automatic response, which is what? To create their own food. They have their means para makagawa ng sarili nilang pagkain. Okay? For example, plants and chemosynthetic bacteria. Meaning ng chemosynthetic bacteria, bacteria that is able to utilize photosynthesis. Nakakagawa sila ng sarili nilang food. That's for autotrophs. Now, with regards to heterotrophs, these are organisms who cannot make any food and obtain energy from consuming other organisms. For example, us human beings, animals, fungi, we need to consume other organisms for us to gain energy. Okay? Now, with the nutritional requirements of plants, with it needs water and carbon dioxide because again these are the raw materials needed for photosynthesis. If you can still remember correctly the discussions before sa chemical equation ng photosynthesis, nagsisimula ito with carbon dioxide plus water. Remember? And the byproduct is glucose, which is C6H12O6. Okay? Now, in order for us to better understand this, we have to take note that there are macro and micronutrients. Now, macronutrients, macro, larger. Okay? Micronutrients, on the other hand, are smaller. Okay? So, from macronutrients, ito yung mga basic na kailangan or examples na kailangan ng plants na in order for them to continue their normal metabolic processes such as carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, potassium, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and sulfur. Okay? Then, for the micronutrients, you have chlorine, iron, boron, magnesium, manganese rather. Then zinc, cobalt, and basically, and molybdenum. Now, all of these micro and macronutrients are essential for a plant to continue growing. Alright? Now, with regards to this nutrition, basically, what's the point here? In plant nutrition, again, it needs water and carbon dioxide para ma-convert niya itong mga ma-absorb niyang water and carbon dioxide into basically glucose. And this glucose basically is the byproduct o yung sugars na kailangan ng plants. Now, what is the role of micro and macronutrients here? Remember, plants also get their nutrients from the roots. So, basically, the water that they absorb is filled with these nutrients present. Alright? Now, for the absorption of water and minerals across plant roots, there's two routes or two ways kung paano nila na-absorb ito. First is the symplast and next is the apoplast. Symplast route is through the plasmodesmata. Okay? Ang plasmodesmata kasi, meaning from plasma, cytoplasm. Okay? The nutrients absorbed are through the cytoplasm, so it's freely floating in each cell of the plant. Aploplast naman is along the cell walls. Okay? So notice here, I have a diagram here presented. So, you start off with your cell wall. Papasok ang nutrients sa cell wall, going to the cytoplasm, and pupunta sa vacuole. Remember, vacuole is the storage space of plants. Tapos, pupunta siya sa plasmodesma. Basically, this is what connects each plant cell together. Okay? Remember, these plant cells have an intact and closely knitted na structure. Okay? So, next, we go to animal nutrition. Animal nutrition, again, let's go back to the word nutrition. It is the biological activity of an animal which includes digestion, absorption, transportation of food and or raw materials into the cells for growth, reproduction, maintenance of homeostatic balance. So when you talk about homeostatic balance, it's the normal metabolic rate of an organism. There is balance. Tama lang amount ng level ng ganitong biochemical na regulated. At part na rin dito ang temperature regulation is all about the normal functioning of an organism which pertains to the body's reactions. Okay? Now, the chemicals, in short, the chemicals we get from the food we eat are nutrients. Now, cells can only obtain these nutrients once the food is properly processed through digestion. Now, with chewing, again, chewing is the process that initiates digestion. Okay? So, with your, if you can recall correctly, there are two forms of digestion. We have mechanical and chemical. Mechanical digestion begins in the mouth where the food is being chewed. Mechanical because the human being or the person or the organism is the one initiating the digestive process. So that is what you call ingestion. Okay? Once we swallow the food passes down through our esophagus, going down through the gastroesophageal sphincter, pupunta sa stomach. Doon pala magsisimula ang chemical digestion. Okay? So here we have the process here, 5-stage processes of food in the body, digestion. We take in food or simply eating, yung pagmuya natin, pinasok mo sa bibig, mechanical digestion. Then you have digestion, absorption, assimilation, and defecation. Digestion is basically what happens inside our stomachs. Absorption, on the other hand, is when the nutrients are being absorbed via our small intestine and large intestine. Assimilation is the utilization of absorbed nutrients by the cells. Kumbaga, yung na-absorb na nutrients by the cells are now being processed. Okay? So, napakinabangan na. Then you have defecation and elimination. This is when the waste are being eliminated from the body. Okay? Through urination and basically feces. Now, from the food that we eat, there are certain calories presented. So, what is a calorie? A calorie is a unit of energy that indicates the amount of energy contained in food. So, basically, it is the amount of energy na present sa isang pagkain. Sir, bakit po there are some people who are watching the calories na kinakain nila? Remember, if this food is unused, less active ang lifestyle mo. If you consume and consume, that energy will be stored and will take on the form of lipids or fats. Okay? That is why calories actually refer to the amount of storable energy present. So, para pag kinailangan mo na energy, you would never run out. Okay? Now, according to Johnson and Raven, the greater number of calories in a quantity of food, the greater energy it contains. So, the higher amount of calories, the higher energy it contains. But mind you, if you are not using this energy, then it will be stored in your body in the form of fats. Okay? Now, for the nutritional requirements of animals, on carbohydrates, basically, It contains 4 calories per gram. Proteins also 4 calories per gram. Na fats, they contain higher amount of energy per gram than carbohydrates or proteins, usually about 9 calories per gram. So notice here, they have high amount of energy, but we need to consume this energy unless we are unable to consume it, edi syempre masustore yun sa body natin. Okay? So that's the main idea of this part of the slide. Then, for the nutritional requirements of animals, there are what you call essential nutrients. Okay? Because there are some substances that we can produce in the body, but there are some substances na hindi natin napoproduce sa katawan natin. We can only get it from consuming other organisms. By consuming food. For example, we have essential amino acids. Sa 20 amino acids na meron, yung 8 doon hindi natin napoproduce sa katawan natin. Like lysine, tryptophan, threonine, methionine, phenylalanine, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. If you can still recall correctly, these are the amino acid sequences found in DNA replication, translation, and transcription. Okay? So not all of them are produced in the body. We need to consume food in order for us to acquire these. Okay? Then you have essential fatty acids. Basically, essential fatty acids are used for making special membrane lipids, which is linoleic acid in humans. Remember, yung mga lining sa katawan natin, especially on the cellular and molecular level, or yung mga membranes na tinatawag natin, yung mga covering are made up of lipids, specifically phospholipids. Then you have vitamins. These organic molecules required in small amounts for normal metabolism. For example, fat-soluble vitamins. For example, if it comes in contact with lipids, it would dissolve, such as vitamin A, D, E, K, and you have water-soluble vitamins such as B, B2, B3, and B12. Okay? I'm not asking you to memorize all of this, but I'm just giving you the idea so you can better understand what the nutritional requirements of an organism is. Okay? Now, with regards to feeding naman, so now na nakuha na natin yung iba't ibang nilalaman ng mga nutrients at mga food na kinokonsume natin, then we have these feeding strategies wherein paano ba kumakain ng mga organisms. It's either continuous or discontinuous. When you talk about continuous, there is a constant acquisition of food as in filter or suspension feeding. For example, continuous feeders do not require a special organ for storage of food, such as the stomach. For example, the earthworm. Earthworm are considered filter feeders. Okay? So, kakain lang sila ng soil, tapos absorb ng body nila yung nutrients, diretso defecate on their other opening. So, pasok sa bibig, labas sa anal opening. Ganun ang nangyayari sa earthworms. Tuloy-tuloy silang kumakain. Unlike with discontinuous feeding, this allows an animal to skip periods of feeding because they have special organs for storage. For example, human beings, we have stomachs. Okay? Usually, heterotrophs have heterotrophs. Remember the definition of heterotrophs? We are not able to produce our own food, but we need to consume others for nutrient acquisition. Okay? So, basically, these heterotrophs have organs adapted for the type of food they consume, such as our stomachs and colon. Okay? Now, with discontinuous feeders, there are classifications of heterotrophs. I won't elaborate this further. This has already been tackled to you previously, even the elementary days. Carnivores, again, feeds on other animals. Herbivores, they feed on plants. Omnivores, they feed both on plants and animals. Okay? Now, let's move on to the next part. You have here an example of a suspension feeder. Ito yung suspension feeder. Notice, they feed by trapping and filtering suspended food particles from surrounding water. For example, sponges, ascidians, brachiopods, and bivalves. Ang bivalves, ito yung mga clam, mga shelled fish natin. Okay, oysters, clams, okay, tahong, scallops, all of them, yung may mga shells, bivalves. Okay, gastropods, and many crustaceans. Crustaceans include crabs and shrimps. So, for example, suspension feeding, ito. May mga nakalutang dito, i-absorb, ilalabas sa kabila. Also, this one. Okay? Meron tayong tutawag ng passive suspension feeding. Pero, walang active pumping of water. Pero they use the cilia, ito, they have their cilia and mucus to move particles to the mouth. Okay? Ito naman, a type of suspension feeding is filter feeding. Kumbaga, active siyang absorb lang ng water, tapos, they filter out the structures and strep na na-absorb nila at saka maano sa water. Ayan, this is an example of a bivalve. This is a clam na andito yung muscle niya sa loob. Okay? Ito, this is an example of a sponge. I-absorb lang nila yung tubig, lalabas sa kabila. Now, pag na-absorb nila yung tubig, they just acquire yung mga nutrients. Okay? Then you have deposit feeders. Pag sa amin deposit feeders, they obtain nutrients from deposits o terrestrial soil and soft bottom habitats such as mud and sand by swallowing bulk of the sediment. So, ano yung kinaibahan ng suspension at deposit? Suspension, di ba, nakalutang suspended. Deposit, kung ano yung dineposito, nandun lang sa sand, nandun lang sa lupa. So, yun yung sinasabi ko sa inyo, kakainin yung lupa, tapos, i-eliminate nila. Okay? So, filter feeding is also part of deposit feeders. Both suspension and deposit feeders are using filter feeding. So, if it's more of water, suspension feeders, deposit feeders nasa soil. Okay? For example, earthworms, snails, and sea urchins. So, lulunok lang sila ng buhangin or lulunok lang sila ng mga soil. I-absorb nutrients doon, iluluwak. Okay? Or i-defecate agad-agad. Okay? That is what happens with deposit feeders. Then herbivory, again herbivory, common strategy involving chewing and biting large plant materials. Herbivores sa plants. Predation, a predator kills a prey. Baka may nalilito pa up to now, the predator yun yung kumakain. Prey yun yung kinakain na animal. Okay? Then you have fluid feeders. I have it on the side fluid feeders. Fluid feeders are organisms that obtain nutrients from fluids. For example, butterflies, birds, moths, mga bees. Sila ay nag-absorb. Even mosquitoes, they eat fluids. They acquire nutrients from fluids. Okay? Next. Foraging. Pag sabing foraging, foragers, a type of feeding strategy or feeding behavior that includes the search of food, being a strategic way of using food. Because some organisms kasi, they remain steady. For example, a coral, they remain steady and attached basically sa rocky surface. Doon na sila magsistay, aantay na lang sila ng pagkain dadapo sa kanila. Okay? But for animals who roam around, nagwo-wander, naglalakad, they search for food, those are foragers. Like for example, as human beings, tayo ay naghahanap para ng pagkain. Yung may ability na maglakad-lakad, for example, lions, other fishes, sharks, they wander around, naghahanap sila, hindi sila nakasteady sa isang posisyon waiting for food to arrive. Those are foragers. Okay? Now, the next part is we're talking about the human digestive system. This is where the body breaks down and absorbs the nutrients. The digestive system is a long twisting tube that starts at the mouth, goes through the esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and ends at the anus for defecation. So, yung process natin kanina from ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and defecation or elimination. Lahat ng yan ay dito dadaan sa human digestive system. So, it starts with your mouth, going with your parotid glands, sublingual glands, submandibular gland, all of this, tumutulong sila para sa production ng ating saliva and the other enzymes para ma-breakdown yung pagkain at ma-moist natin. So, pag nakalunok, dadaan sa pharynx o yung it both opens to the windpipe or trachea and your esophagus. Bababa dito sa gastroesophageal sphincter sa esophagus. Dito, papasok sa stomach. From the stomach, kung fatty ang kinakain, magre-release si gallbladder ng bile. Okay? Tapos, pupunta na sa small intestine through the pyloric sphincter, through the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Pagkagaling kay ileum, bababa na siya kay ascending colon, pupunta kay transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, at anus, pababa. So, let's look at it in a deep manner. So, first, the parts of the digestive system, begins with your oral cavity or your mouth. Okay? May tatlong parts ng mouth, the palate, the tongue, and the teeth. The palate, basically, ito yung flooring ng tongue natin. The soft palate and the hard palate. So, this includes also your upper and lower. Kumbaga, yung roofing. Okay? Kung walang palate, then directly, walang flooring, walang covering ang bibig natin. Expose agad ang nasal cavity natin sa taas. Okay? Ito yung hard palate natin, no? Ito yung soft palate natin. Okay? Hard palate and the soft palate. Okay? Kung wala ito, direkta kita na ang nostrils natin. Diyan. Okay? Then tongue. Tongue is the muscular and glandular structure attached to the base of the oral cavity, allowing for speech production and tasting. Nandyan kasi ang mga taste receptors natin. Now, itong surface ng tongue in the upper portions have lingual papillae, which is a receptor. Okay? Part ng mga sensory receptors natin. Okay? Then you have teeth. Humans kasi are diphyodont. Okay? When you say diphyodont, may dalawa tayong sets ng teeth o yung milk o deciduous teeth or tapos permanent teeth. We start out with milk teeth and it gets replaced by permanent teeth. Now, ito yung iba't ibang structures ng teeth natin. You have your molars here sa pinakalooban. Also here, premolars, canines, and incisors. Okay? Basically, ito yung functions nila. Now, I have here the structure of your teeth. Basically, a tooth has a crown, a neck, and a root. The crown is the visible part of the tooth. The neck is the one that is covered in the gums. And the root is embedded in the socket of the jawbone. Kaya, masakit mabunutan ng ngipin because there are nerve endings present at the end. And there are also mga blood vessels na nakadikit. Kaya pag nabunutan ng ngipin, dumudugo. Okay? Then you go to your pharynx. After we end the discussion with the mouth, the food now goes to your pharynx pag nanguya na natin, which is basically the back of your throat, which serves as the entrance to the esophagus and connects to the stomach and trachea. Okay? So, yung trachea, again, airway natin sa lungs, we will discuss that sa ating respiratory system. Now, para yung food, pag umalis sa pharynx, the valve, may nagsasarang valve, which is yung epiglottis, kinaklose yung trachea. Para saan? Para hindi tumuloy sa windpipe natin yung pagkain. Kung hindi, mabibilaukan tayo. Yan yung nabibilaukan o nabubulunan. Nagchuchok. Okay? Now, you have also esophagus. The esophagus connects your pharynx with the stomach. Kumbaga, passageway siya ng pagkain from your throat down to your stomach. Okay? The stomach now is a muscular stretchable sac located below the diaphragm. It has three important functions. First, mixes and stores ingested food, and next, secretes gastric juice that helps dissolve and degrade the food part, particularly proteins. Then, it regulates passage of food into the small intestine. Now, the gastric juice is a combination of a hydrochloric acid and acid stable proteases. Now, these hydrochloric acid and other stomach acids are corrosive acids, meaning highly acidic talaga siya para matunaw ang pagkain. Now, the churning action of the stomach together with the potent acidity of the gastric juice convert food into a thick liquid mixture called chyme. So, additional information, kapag tayo kinain na natin yung pagkain at napunta sa stomach natin, when it becomes digestion, ano na siya, liquid mixture na siya, it's called chyme. Now what happens sa chyme na to? Dadaan na siya sa ating intestines para ma-absorb yung liquids at may iwan dyan yung solids na siyang mabubuo para maging feces o pupo na isang tao. Okay? Then, for the parts of the stomach, you have your cardia, fundus, body, and pyloric. Cardia, dito natin nararamdaman umaakyat ang acidity level. Kasi notice, sa mga people with hyperacidity, nangangasim, aangat yan dito yung papunta sa esophagus. Minsan umaabot sa lalamunan, nauubo tayo. Okay? This is kaya minsan na ano rin natin yung heartburn kasi when we eat too fast, the stomach produces high amounts of acid para matunaw yung pagkain. Now, syempre kung highly acidic, mataas yung content ng acid ng stomach natin, mangangasim tayo. Okay? Now, ito yung gastroesophageal sphincter. A sphincter muscle is responsible for regulating entry and exit. Ngayon, nagsasara yan para ma-prevent yung backflow. Pero kung punong-puno yung stomach natin, magba-backflow yan, kaya nagsusuka ibang tao. Okay? Kasi puno ng gases, these gases trigger the gastroesophageal sphincter to open at babalik ang pagkain paakyat kaya nagsusuka isang tao. Okay? Fundus naman, ito yung napupuno ng air. Kasi remember, dito sa body, dito yung nagda-digest. Diyan yung nag-churn yung action. Dito puno-puno ng acids. And remember, during digestion, it gives off carbon dioxide. Dito napupunta ang air na nangyayari. Okay? Itong pylorus naman, it is the opening to the small intestine. Okay? It is now regulated by the pyloric sphincter. Okay? Pyloric sphincter, ayan yung kasing pylorus. Ito na yung ano natin, duodenum natin, yung first opening ng ating digestive tract. Okay? Specifically sa ating small intestine. Now, may mga accessory organs tayo sa digestive system natin. We have here your liver, which is aiding in digestion and absorbing fats. Kasi sila ay nagpo-produce ng bile. Sila rin nagde-detoxify ng harmful substances from the blood. They store and metabolize nutrients such as glucose and vitamins and produces proteins which are essential for blood clotting and immune function. Now, for the digestive system, the main role of the liver is this one, to produce bile. So, pag nagawa na yung bile, magsastore siya sa gallbladder, update na tinatawag natin. Now, it releases pag sobrang mataba yung kinakain natin, the gallbladder releases the bile into the small intestine para mas madali natin may digest at ma-absorb ang mga fats. Okay? Then you have pancreas. Basically, they produce the digestive enzymes such as amylase, lipase, and protease that break down carbohydrates, fats, and proteins in the small intestine. It also secretes bicarbonates to neutralize stomach acid. Okay? Siya yung nagre-regulate din ng stomach acid natin para hindi siya laging highly acidic ang ating stomach. It also produces insulin and glucagon which regulate blood sugar levels. Okay? Now, so na ano natin accessory organs. So, from the stomach, bababa na siya sa small intestine, which is basically nangyayari ang enzymatic hydrolysis. Ano meron doon? Hydrolysis, breaking down through water. Now, the complete digestion of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins occurs in the duodenum. So, ito. Duodenum, first 25 centimeters. Now, the rest of the small intestine is devoted for absorption of water and products of digestion into the bloodstream. Now, absorption of the end products of digestion take place in the ileum or the surface area. Okay? After, so again, duodenum, ileum, jejunum, and ileum. Ileum ang pinakadulo natin bago siya pumunta sa large intestine. So, what happens with your large intestine? The large intestine naman concentrates and stores undigested matter by absorbing mineral ions and water. So, kung dito, more of nutrients ang ina-absorb, ito, mineral ions na lang sa water. Now, ito na yung part sa ascending pataas. Ascending colon. So, absorbs water and electrolytes. So, starts forming feces dito, nabubuo na yung pupo ng isang tao. Okay? Descending transverse. Ito mo yung transverse. Ito na yung pathway for food and waste. Kumbaga, siya yung magkoconnect sa ascending and descending colon. Sa descending colon naman, continuous pa rin in-absorb ang water and electrolytes at kinokompact ang fecal matter o yung feces na maging solid. Okay? Ito na yung sigmoid colon. Ayan na. Dito muna nasa-store ang feces o yung poop natin bago siya ilabas sa rectum. Rectum descends down kapag malapit na pag nafe-feel mo na ang nasa CR kaya pupupo ka na, magde-descend down yan, opening the anal sphincter o yung anus natin. The anal sphincter is the muscle that closes and opens the anus. Okay? Now, please do take note that there are a lot of bacteria present here para mag-aid sa digestion at breakdown ng ating food na kinakain. Okay? Now, pag naglo-loose bowel movement o nagda-diarrhea tayo, most likely there's a problem with our intestines kasi walang proper absorption ng water. Kaya sira ang tiyan natin pag ganon. Okay? Now, next, ito yung rectum natin. So, dito yung sigmoid colon together with the rectum. So, the distension of the rectum, with distension, nagsistretch na yung pababa, nagtitrigger na para lumabas ang feces. Now, ito yung anus natin which basically opens the area para mailabas natin ang ating feces. Okay? So, that is all for the discussion with regards to our digestive system. So, I hope you are able to listen to this lecture and be ready for a short quiz once we enter our face-to-face classes. Okay? So, have a nice day, everyone.